Welcome back once again. I'm Dr. Frank Pio, and I have a PhD in psychology, in marriage and family psychology. I would like to give a presentation on the topic today, which is consolidating marital relationship. How do we consolidate our stay in marriage? When people come together after courtship, premarital counseling, premarital relationship engagement, there is a need for them after those finishing the administrative details that launches the marital life. We see what consolidates marriage. And we would like to see that in the relationship cycle, using the relationship cycle, which has 4 quadrants, earlier on I said, just picture a circle with 4 quadrants divided into 4 parts. The first part has the dating, the second part has the positive intimacy, the third part has the negative intimacy, the fourth part has what we call the transactional relationship. So how do we consolidate our marital relationship based on those 4 quadrants that form the specific factors that help people to stay in marriage and live a successful and happy marriage? Though with the challenges, real life has it, marriage has challenges. Even when you're starting a relationship, there are challenges. These are manageable challenges, and that's what we like to look at today. So when there is any trouble or any problem, as we indicated earlier on, in the 4 psychological types of marriage, when there is a half marriage, when there is a single married singles, childlike marriage, and sadomasochistic marriage, you realize that sometimes our marriages might have 1 or 2, but one is more predominant. For instance, in a relationship where a partner is more aggressive and the other is passive, that is the half marriage, one puts the other on the emotional seesaw, whereby the other partner feels so tense by the silence of the partner that he is quiet or is passive, or the other might be so pissed off by a partner that is aggressive. So what we do, we go back to the relationship cycle. We fit in quadrant number 1. And in quadrant number 1, we looked at dating. We see what brought us together, what made us appreciate each other. You remember we talked about those 4 security reasons. Security reason number 1 was physical security reason, social security reason, emotional security reason, and then we looked at the economic security reason, and the 5th, which would be the spiritual security reason, which sometimes we combine with the social security reason. So we see really what brought us together and how can we keep together, how can we sustain life together. Research has it that men are in most cases taken by the physical security reason and the emotional security reason, because they want to show their male dominance, they want to show that they are in charge, they want to show that they are the ones that are according to the hierarchical structure of the family or the marriage, they are the ones that are in charge of either the home facilities or looking after the family, looking after the children. So when we go back to those security reasons, we see man came into marriage because they needed a partner, a spouse, an attractive partner or a spouse. The spouse might turn out not to be as attractive as they were earlier on. So how do we put up with somebody that is no longer slender, that is no longer either number 7, number 8, number 9, those different numbers, those 7 packs you talked about, or the 9 packs that people look out for? If somebody has lost all that, and for the man, those muscles are no longer as intact as they were, and the belly begins protruding, and all those cheeks begin coming out. How do we put up with that? So we get back to the security reasons that brought us together. Physical security reason, what makes this man keep around me? Emotional security reason, how does this person support me when I'm troubled, or when I'm pissed off, when I'm quiet, when they are aggressive? How do we manage to support each other? Won't I lose the other person's support? Won't I lose the internal beauty or the external beauty that we were looking for? Won't I lose the spiritual security reason? For instance, you might find a prayerful person. That's what you are looking for. You might find somebody that is supportive in terms of you go together to church. You might find somebody in a security reason that is spiritually related, whereby both of you appeal to God when issues turn out. So this helps the married people to keep strong in their marriages, to keep intact and consolidate their state together. So still, we may use the married singles or the childlike marriage. Any challenge that comes on any of those psychological types of marriage can be consolidated or can be understood in quadrant number 1 by getting back to which security reasons brought us together. If it was economics, sometimes there are economic challenges and we are not able to get the money. We are no longer getting the money that we got. And as you are aging, you don't have the same energy, the same strength, the same enthusiasm to chase after money that you had earlier on 5-10 years back. So how do we go about this? If we invested enough, if we didn't invest, then we go into investing such that we keep the finances that we started with in our marital relationships, and that will help us to keep together. The other security reason in quadrant 1 that we considered in our dating is the social security reason. For instance, you wanted this partner for prestige. So we need to keep together to keep that prestige together. Some people say that other people get married in order to get address. When you leave this person, you lose the physical address. They will say you are Mrs. Dr. Chiinje, or you are Mr. so and so. When things come up and you are threatened a bit, we don't move away. We get back to quadrant number 1. In other words, I'm trying to show how do we utilize quadrant number 1 to consolidate our state together. Do we have time to chat, to joke? Do we have time to work together, to work on an activity together? Do we go out together? Do we watch a clip, a soap, a film together? Do we go to cinema together? Do we travel together? During big days or during holidays, do we interact and socialize together? And that helps us to keep in a consolidated marriage relationship. And we can use also quadrant number 2, positive intimacy. We can renew those moments, those lightful moments when we are both in honeymoon. Each one of us who are in a relationship or who have been in marriage or who are in marriage or who have been in a relationship, there are those light moments when you are in honeymoon. There are those light moments when everything sounds to be so good. We can revive that moment of happiness, the moment of seeing each other in the lenses of trust. If somebody didn't make it to your expectation, we can revive the trust levels. If somebody maybe not spend according to what you had planned on the economic dimension of your marital life, you can decide to revive your trust for each other on the issue of economics. For instance, I would like to say this. When a partner comes back home, whoever has come back first, you may prepare for each other's return. You are trying to revive the positive intimacy. Love, relationship, and marriage or family is fed the way you would feed either a pet or the way you would water a flower in a pot. Even these relationships need to be revived. We revive each other. We encourage each other. We stand for each other. We support each other. Even when other people would give up on your partner, you should be the last, if any, to give up on your partner. We remain supportive. We remain strong in a way that shows that we are in positive intimacy, in positive love. We see things working out. We don't see things fading. And that's the best way to look at, at consolidating a marital relationship. There are moments when you'll buy for your partner, something that they like most. You may buy a gift, or you may decide to go and wait for them wherever they are. You're buying time, but showing that there is a treasure that you have or that you are waiting for, which builds positive intimacy. So positive intimacy can be rebuilt. Although we started earlier with a certain positive intimacy, we can rebuild it to grow into better and greater heights. There are moments when the finances are not doing well. There are moments when socially we are not doing well. There are moments even when you spiritually feel dry. You cannot pray, you cannot speak to your God, but your partner steps in to support you, or we step in to support each other, as a way of keeping positive in the marriage and in the relationship. And this is what I would like to bring out, that we need to keep the positive energy in the system. Any system fueled by positive energy survives any form of catastrophe, because you remain focused in your relationship, you remain focused, your partner, you remain focused, your spouse, or you remain focused to support your marriage to grow from one level to another. Now, we may need to look at how do we also utilize the negative intimacy on the quadrant of relationship, where sometimes the negative side of love will appear. True, you will see that your partner is aggressive. Or true, you will see that your partner is passive. What are you going to do about it? Or you are beginning to wake up and see that this person acts like a child. Instead of taking over to be in charge of the family, he acts like a child, or she acts like a child. She's not able to take care of the responsibilities that she may be needed to attend to. You might realize that one of your partner or your spouse is in a way acting as a person that is a sadist, inflicts pain and they enjoy that. Then you begin waking up true. You may tell somebody to leave money for taking care of the family and they refuse. But you saw the money, they had it. You tell somebody to pay money for fees for the child, but they will refuse. They will walk away and leave a sick child. Do you walk away? No, we don't walk away. We restudy the shape and the direction in which this is coming and it is taking. Why am I emphasizing this? This is the tempting point when some people, their resilience levels is tempted or weakened, and they tend to think that I better give up. Why am I stuck? Why am I suffering? Why am I struggling? Unless when somebody is physical or is taking your life, I restate, you need to keep in this marriage relationship. Marital consolidation opportunities, they behave in a way that you may never believe. That opportunity walks in when you least expected it. Your partner will come back a cooperative the way you least expected them. They will understand. Sometimes we need to give each other time to grow in the struggle that we are in. You need to accept the height of your partner. Maybe you discover that that height is not what you wanted. But on the negative side of love, as shown in the other side, that somebody of that height, that kind of person will not enthuse me. Somebody of that kind of weight will not enthuse me. Somebody of that kind of shape of the head will not enthuse me. The way they talk, the way they walk, they will not enthuse me. When we study, we realize that this is the kind of person that I'm going to age with. By and large, why am I emphasizing on the understanding the negative side of love or negative intimacy? When you understand it is the stepping stone to conquering it instead of running away from it. Those that run away from it, they end up in separation or in divorce, and the marriages end. That's why I said earlier on that most marriages start well, but some do not even celebrate the end of the year. 50% they end up in separation because of this quadrant number 3. We fail to appreciate the weight of quadrant number 3. When you give up on quadrant number 3, you are giving up on our way. You are giving up on what you enjoyed in quadrant 1, what you enjoyed in quadrant 2. Now you want to leave it in quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 should be a learning experience for all of us. Quadrant 3 should be a strengthening point for all of us. It should be a point that brings us to understand that life has 2 seasons. In life, there is a season of plenty. You enjoyed the quadrant 1 and 2, that was of plenty. That was a consolation. And There is also a season of scarcity. Scarcity has started setting in. And that's life. Life has that. So that's why we need to understand that we need to support each other. The best way to weaken the negativity in quadrant 3 is by moving back in quadrant 2 and 1 and re-strengthen quadrant 2 and 1. When you re-strengthen the security issues that brought you together in the dating quadrant, when you re-strengthen the positive intimacy, when you look back in quadrant 1 and 2, you move away from the negativity. You will stand in quadrant 2 and only realize that this negativity was a learning experience. I needed to know this part of life that I have never seen in my partner or in my spouse. So quadrant 3 might be tempting, but has volumes of lessons for us. Why do I say that? Most people say that marriage is a bed of roses. So take the roses to be in quadrant 1 and 2. Then take the thorns to be in quadrant 3. There is no way you will see a rose without the thorns. Every nice looking rose flower has thorns. So you don't cut away the branches that have the thorns, or only you pick the rose and you leave the thorns. But you need to know how to maneuver. How do I handle the thorns in my hand? Such that those thorns should not scratch you. Oh yeah. And that's the negative energy. How do we manage, for instance, the way your spouse talks? When, I want to be practical on this, when a spouse comes back when they have not got the money they needed, they moved into business and things never worked out. They were expecting a certain payment which never came. Or it could be a chronic illness that can set in certain negativity that changes the way your spouse is communicating, the way your spouse, their attitude, their esteem, their assertiveness is compromised. It looks down the hill. So you need to learn as a spouse, how do you enable your partner, or together with your partner, how do you manage those thorns? Even how do you manage moving your hand within the thorns to pick the rose? And in that way, you are managing quadrant number 3. And in quadrant number 4, we look at the transactional relationship. I want to conclude with quadrant number 4. We transact using the positive intimacy or the negative intimacy. So if the struggles have become too much in the negative, in the quadrant number 3, and you move there from quadrant number 3, that's what will throw you into the transactional relationship. You transact negatively because the relationship ended negatively. That's why you will see some people cannot look at their ex-partners or spouses, even when they had children with them. Every time they meet, they are fighting because of the negative transaction that they had when the relationship, either when they were separating, or when they are ending, or when they were walking out of the relationship. On another episode, I'll talk about entering in love. What creates people? Some people fall in love instead of entering in love. Those that fall in love, when the relationship does not work out, they fall out of love. Either when they are heartbroken, or limb broken, or life broken, or life beaten. So the best way to enjoy the transactional relationship is to use positive intimacy, whereby it is easy. Even when things have not worked out in a given relationship, you can always communicate. And it shows a certain level of maturity in the relationship. It shows that you resolved the issues before you moved out of this relationship. Or it shows that you kept in this marriage, but things did not work out. So I don't want to give you 100% assurance that all people that enter marriage will keep in there, given the fact of the statistics that I stated earlier, that 50% that enter in marriage do not even celebrate a year in marriage, while the 50% are the ones that end the year when they are in marriage. I would like to wish you a fruitful listening to this episode. Thank you so much. and enjoy a happy marriage.